our second session on GST, and everyone really wanted us to come back again with the GST. And of course, we've got three panelists. Everybody knows them, I'm sure. They don't need introduction. I think everybody in the industry knows them very well, and now also knows them better as GST experts. So let me start by Mr. Bhatkamkar, Shantanu Bhatkamkar, who is the immediate past president of AMTOI. Good afternoon, sir. And then also allow me to introduce Mr. Ramakrishna, who is the past chairman of Triple FAI and DCBA, and at the same time is also one of the experts on the AMTOI taxation committee. And last but not the least is our current vice president, Mr. Arun Kumar, and also the honorary treasurer of ACFI. So, gentlemen, the stage is yours. Please, it's all yours. Help us, guide us, take us forward, and help us understand what we have until now. Thank you. Shantanu, sir, if you may start.
Yeah, namaskar. Thanks, Priya and Haresh, and welcome Rama, Arun, and Devpal, and above all, 141 participants. Thanks for your good participation. What message I am giving is more to do with the strategic issues we all should have towards taxation. The details and the ready reckoner we will discuss in time to come, which will be primarily led by Arun and Rama. See, the 1st October changes, I would say, is the beginning of a new regime. And particularly for international freight forwarders, where we bill abroad, we are billed from abroad, we do services for our customers abroad, and then we all had different interpretation of the notifications. To begin with, this ready reckoner helped me and my office considerably. We had different views on these issues, which we conveyed. We changed some views and we accepted some views, and that is what all of us did. There was a core group operating on this, and most of them are present here. So it has helped us to understand, and our teams have understood well. One of the biggest obstacles we faced, see here I must point out, we are here as ILG. It's a group of 7 logistics related associations, and we are all jointly studying 8, not 7, 8. So we are all studying it jointly. So we have made a lot of effort to come to a common interpretation. And this is not by consensus. This is by each one agreeing to the interpretation. It is not by majority, not even by consensus. It's either you convince us or I convince you. One of the obstacles we saw members face is their chartered accountant has a certain opinion, certain advice. I am okay with you taking advice from a chartered accountant or a lawyer. It's your choice. You are subject to taxation and you have to take care of your assessment. But I can assure you, the talent available in ILG, their understanding of interpretation of charging statutes, and their ability to interpret any tax law is far more because of our custom broker background, because of intensive meetings we take with the authorities. And I can assure you, our reach out to the authorities is far bigger than all the advisors you have put together. So please trust your association, be it AMTOI, Triple FI, ACFI, CAI, ACAI, INSA, ICSSA, ITWA. Please trust more in your association's ability to reach out to the government and help you in times of crisis. ILG is an association of associations, so you can imagine the diversity we have. My next point is, every small question of yours is welcome. Please come out with your issues, and I can assure you that AMTOI Taxation Committee, supported by ILG's expanded scope, is happy to solve all the issues. And I can tell you, we have sorted out lot of issues of lot of people, very severe issues. We have we have killed the issue in the bud itself. We have nipped it in the bud, and wherever required, we have escalated it to the highest level. So your feedback is important. I can tell you, when we said difficulties to AMTOI or ILG or triple FAI, it helps them to take up the issue. It helps them to study the issue, because any issue can be studied better when we have a case lying there, when we have an issue lying there, rather than abstract reading of the law. So thanks again for your participation. And what we expect in this meeting also is be participative. Second, Priya announced that we will allow some of you to come online with us. And this is a privilege for those who send questions in advance. We will always select the best questions, best suggestions, and allow the people to come on board and share your thoughts, share your experience, ask questions. With this, back to you, Priya.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, over to Arun now. We don't want to delay the session anymore. So over to Arun.
Namaskar, good afternoon. I think it is important that we go through the antitrust. So, Harish Bhai, you're the person for that.
Yep. Okay. So this disclaimer, I'm going to be reading it out to all concerned. I'm sure if you can also read it, you will understand what exactly we mean by the disclaimer. So this webinar is organized by the ILG and hosted by AMTOI with the intent of bringing uniformity in the EXIM logistics trade with regard to the GST applicability on various services and under various circumstances. While the subject has been thoroughly debated before arriving on the understanding, which will be shared right now, it is strongly advised that the audience apply general prudence and discretion before accepting or rejecting the same. Attendees are encouraged to consult with their respective legal and financial advisors for specific guidance tailored to their unique circumstances. It is also imperative to state that this webinar should not be construed as professional advice, and under no circumstances will ILG or its constituents be responsible for your action inaction based on the upcoming presentation. If you continue to remain in this webinar, this point forward, it shall be deemed to be your confirmation of understanding stated above, and that you hold ILG and its constituents indemnified of all claims based on the subject of the presentation. Should the above not be acceptable, you are at your liberty to leave this webinar at this very point. The antitrust statement, I will read it out. It is our duty to make you aware of your responsibilities in connection with the Competition Act 2002 of antitrust law. We remind you that no anti-competitive agreements have been or will be decided or discussed during this webinar. In respect to production, supply, distribution, storage, acquisition, or control of goods or provision of services, including agreements in respect of abuse of dominant position and combinations, if any, and that such acts can lead to appreciable adverse effects on fair competition and after all business of subsisting members, officers, employees, attendees of ILG and its constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Harish Bhai. So, with that, we begin our webinar. I would like to apologize in advance. I'm a bit under the weather, so if I if I start sneezing or coughing in between, my apologies in advance for that.
Don't worry, you sneeze, we'll keep saying God bless.
Okay, so this is the chart and reference that we were talking about. From the previous webinar that we did on GST to this one, there has been a small change, and then a circular was sent for that. While most of the things written in the first circular were correct, there was something pointed out to us by a few of our members, which stated that we had mentioned NA. You can see in the column RCM on purchase from foreign party applicable. We had mentioned NA. So a lot of our members got back to us saying that they are purchasing this ocean freight exports also from overseas. So would it not apply? We actually had taken a wrong assumption that ocean freight export is usually purchased in India, or air freight export for that matter is usually purchased in India. And that was the reason we had mentioned NA. So we made that correction. And if you're buying any ocean freight, anything, any freight or any component of logistics uh, which is subject to GST and forward charge mechanism, if you're buying from overseas, will attract GST under RCM. So those are the four corrections that we made on this, and we had circulated it. So I think it will be very good if we, instead of going forward and discussing point by point, if we can start taking questions, because the interactive session will make more sense. Priya, can we start taking questions at this point?
Do you want to keep the screen or should I share the question?
No, we'll keep the screen. If you could just state the question and the name, and we will, because the reference point would remain this, right? Or whichever way you want to.
I think
one solution is you can put the question in the chat. Others can't put, but you can put so that everyone can read
for
the
the host
question.
and panelists. Okay, let me bring on screen the question answer for the moment. There's a long list to start with, and Afzal sir has again raised hand, and I request him to allow us 2 more minutes. That once we take the first question which came to us, you're already on second in my list to be taken up. So please allow us to answer the first question, and then we will take up. So the first question is from Keyur. It's a long one. He's explained the scenario where import cargo dominated to us by foreign company agent, which could be on DAP or DDP or DDU basis. His question is GST applicable on specifically the transport from port to importer side, import custom clearance, import port charges, import shipping line charges, import CFS, in any other import related cost until it is delivered to importer. Reading of section 13(3)(a) states that to fall under this section, the goods would be required to be made physically available by the recipient service to the supplier of service. He's given this reference since Arunji, you already understand that. I'll stick to the question part only.
Okay, so what I'll do is, Priya, just allow me to share screen. Actually, the next slide was exactly on the subject matter itself. And, this is one very important thing that we get our heads around, because 13.3 has been a point of contention throughout. And a lot of people have even contacted me on this. See, what is 13.3? What does it say? And why it should not be applicable, and why a different section should apply is the question. Now, 13.3, for those who have in-depth knowledge of GST, it is for export of services. There are these 5 conditions which have to be satisfied for any any service or goods to be considered, any service to be considered as exports. So these 5. On the third, there is a place of supply. This place of supply is what comes under the question. So under GST, if you see, I have highlighted a few points here. If you can see GST section 12.8, where it says place of supply, then it comes to 13.2. 13.2 is the default rule. But there happens to be this 13.3 and 13.3A in particular, which brings in the confusion. So Keol's question is precisely on this point, and this is the point of contention which has been there for a while. While on plain reading, you might believe that 13.3A would apply. Actually, it has been clarified on several occasions that 13.2, which is a default rule in this case, will apply. the intention of 13.3 is very different. It is not intended for uh, freights or logistic service. It is intended for a very different service. For example, if there is a foreign supplier who has supplied certain goods in India and has given the contract of servicing those goods under warranty to a third party in India, the third party services those components or those machineries maybe in the course of that warranty and bills it to the principal. In such case, 13.3A would apply. Till such time, the default rule 13.2 applies. So that has been clarified, and it is actually clarified for not specifically for freight forwarders, but it has been clarified for the ports as well. So we take the inference from that for ports, if it doesn't apply, then it doesn't apply for freight forwarders as well. So it's a subject matter of, you can debate it till the cows come home, but the actual reading of the law and interpretation has to be done on the basis of certain other principles which are applicable. So that is my take on this. So my answer would be, in such cases, GST under forward charges would apply, but GST, once you are billing it to an overseas party, it will be considered as export of services. That is my take on this. Rama sir, would you like to add anything on this?
No, I entirely agree with you. In fact, we had a longest deliberation in the previous session only on this.
Correct.
In fact, Nilesh asked this question and we had to do a lot of deliberation, and we said that why 13.2 is applicable and the other one is not applicable. We had also said, you rightly pointed out about the servicing of the machinery, etc. Those machineries, for example, if some software to be provided from India onto the system outside India, then this place of services will not be applicable at all, because the system is not physically in India. So, whereas if it is a machinery to be repaired or anything,
Did we lose Mr. Rama?
Yeah, Rama sir's voice we lost.
Okay. Continuing on, should I'm taking
this is the just to complete this. This is the clarification which I was referring to. Rama sir, we had lost your voice in between. Are you there?
No, I think there is an issue with his.
There's an issue, internet issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the clarification. In case where location of supplier of service is the location of recipient of service is outside India, will be determined by the default rule understanding 13.2 of IGST Act and not as performance-based service under subsection 3 of section 13 of IGST Act. Accordingly, in case where location of recipient of service is available, the place of supply of such service shall be the location of recipient of service. So this should have actually put an end to this entire discussion, but for whatever reason, and this is as late as October 2023. So I do not see why there was so much confusion around this particular point. So I think that should answer the question with reference to 13.3, 13.3A or and 13.2. I'm stopping to share. Back to you, Priya.
Sure. Kayur, I hope your question is answered. If you have any further questions and if you would like to come online, please raise your hand. So I'll bring you onto the as a panelist temporarily. In the meanwhile, I'm bringing Mr. Afzal Malabarwala.
I think just to supplement Arun, like why this comes on coming up repeatedly. My understanding is people go to consultants outside of this industry who don't understand our business particularly well. So when lawyers and chartered accountants who don't understand our business thoroughly, they go by ad verbatim and not in a context of understanding that business, and even they don't go completely ad verbatim because they are missing on 13.2 being the default rule and not 13.3.
Correct.
That's, I think, the genesis of problem according to me.
And 13.3 is our different connotation altogether.
So we have Mr. Afzal Malabarwala. I'd request him to please unmute himself, and he's online to be he can ask his question on live.
Afzal is there?
I've put him on panel. I can see him, but he's, I guess, on mute. I'll
Afzal
just wait.
namaskar. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Done, sir.
Okay.
Sir, first of all, let me just thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. I just want to check for the question of Mr. Keyur. Now here, whatever it is, he is saying DDP and the foreign agents has, give him the nomination. That means he is going to build the foreign agent, not anybody in India.
Correct.
So for him, the place of service is not India.
Place of supply.
Place of supply, because the person who is going to pay the money is the person who has received the service.
Right.
In that case, he has to apply GST? That is what is a simple question.
No, sir.
That's all. That's all he wanted to know, yes or no. So this means no.
No.
Yeah, okay. That is the simple. And second thing I wanted to check with you is that you are also an air freight forwarder. Everybody sitting over there are doing air freight. Now, the section 15 very clearly says that the GST is applicable on the transactional value of the material. Now, there are certain airlines who are charging GST on the full tariff rate, although the transaction value is different. And that is because of the Supreme Court order of the Singapore airline case, where the Singapore Airlines, the Supreme Court has very clearly said that no, it is not a notional income, it is your income, because there was nobody there to make Supreme Court understand, because it was not, though agents were not involved. So in that case, one airline particularly has started charging GST on the, not on the transaction value, but on the full value. Now, what action are we going to take for that? Because this is going on since last November. I've been fighting with them. They are saying, you show the buying rate on the document, we will not charge you GST. Now, if I show the buying rate, then I'll have to close the shop and sit at home. Now, if I am showing the higher rate, my customer is saying, if you are charging me 105 rupees, you charge me GST.
Just Afzal, allow me.
One minute, let me complete it.
But this is a good question, but for a wrong forum.
I was about to say that.
We are talking, see,
We
that
will
is the
not
problem.
be able
When we are
to
talking
discuss
about
this.
GST, listen to me. When we are talking about GST, I am asking you a GST question. I have been, you see, the basic reason is that whenever we talk about air freight, everybody backs out. Now, this is the main problem. That is the only reason I asked whether you will allow us to talk, then we are coming. Because we don't, you see, now this is the thing, they are charging GST on the full value, whether it is right or wrong. If it is wrong, what action ILG is going to take on that? Thank you.
I think ILG, we will call a separate meeting on your point whenever you want, wherever you want, or video conference. But right now we have to focus on the new rule and the chart which we have prepared. But we will take up this issue, and you are ILG. You are no different from ILG. As much as we are ILG, you are ILG.
In ILG, whenever I have talked about, air freight, बाद में बात करेंगे. I heard 3 times. That is the reason I have not even stopped coming to the meeting.
We are all air freight people. How can you say that?
Afzal, if you say like this, you are discouraging us from inviting people to talk on the topic, because
Anyway.
we have to stick to the seminar topic, and ILG we will discuss in ILG forum.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Then I think my
Please don't
question is
discourage
over.
us from calling people to share their thoughts.
I think everything is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So let me bring back the questions on the screen.
Can I say something, Shantanu? Even if the IGST is not charged on the transactional value, and if it is in a higher value, let us assume like that. Okay. Now you can take the credit of what you have paid the IGST, number one. Number two, when you are paying less money, that is not the transaction price, but a higher value only on the GST and not on the principal amount, does not work even for the airline.
Rama, it will be
I
wise
would,
of us not to drift from the issue.
yes, sir.
We
I
have
would
an agenda in
request
front
all of
of
you to,
us,
let's
Fine.
and
stick
we
to point.
stick to agenda
Let's
and we
stick
stick
to,
to
yeah.
seminars issue.
Fine.
Let's stick to this session, and we will definitely, Mr. Afzal's point is a very valid and important point. We will definitely take this up offline separately.
Okay.
Coming to the next question from Mr. Dhiren. If ABC Limited is acting as an agent of foreign principal and earn commission income for service provided, raising invoice with GST at 18% on commission, few case residual income earned not credited to principal. Is GST payable on residual income by ABC Limited?
I could not understand the question, because what do you mean by in few
Residual.
cases residual income earned not credited to principal?
I am also not sure about this. I thought maybe Shantanu sir would be able to explain, or Mr. Rama.
I think in my
According to me, just a second, just to try and understand what Mr. Dhiren has said, is that, when you act as an agent, there are some earnings in India that are not credited to the principal. Like, if you've taken some local
For
charges or DL
example, what
charges.
he's saying, if there is a margin in what
Correct.
he's doing,
Exactly.
that is
so
what
he is not pure agent, and even agents can have margin. It's a myth that agents can't have margin. Agents can have margin in addition to commission, and unnecessarily we try to suppress margin. So I think what he is referring to, Arun, is you may have quoted, say, $13 as LCL freight, but you are actually paying $12. So that margin is in addition to your handling charges, which they will pay you.
But
I
there
guess
are two.
that's the tone of the question.
So in that case, there are two different transactions,
Correct.
and it has to be dealt in two different ways.
correct.
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 Exactly. What you do locally, you will pay upfront, and otherwise you will get the rest you will pay at reverse.
So don't
Correct.
mix up. See, another way of explaining is don't mix up your purchase with your sales.
Sales. Correct.
What you are talking is difference in your purchase and sales, and then book purchase separately, book sales, and there is no concept of a difference or a residual income anywhere. It's the total service and the carry forward of service that's the issue, and not the difference. And we have very strongly contested this concept of freight difference with service tax department, and that's something we continue to fight. And crores of rupees of demand have been raised. So don't succumb to the practice of freight difference or residual income of difference in buy and sell. Please don't do that. And if you still want, please give a very specific case for us to understand the case extremely clearly. Any other panelist has a different view, please share.
Precisely, sir. It is exactly that. I mean, if that was the question, the understanding you have given, then that it has to be dealt in two different ways. But I would prefer that if our understanding, if there is an error in our understanding, please write back to us.
It's about
Explain.
sale and purchase being put together. This question says both.
Yeah.
So
So I'd request Mr. Dhiren to maybe rephrase his question or acknowledge that what the all the panelists have said that satisfies your
Yeah,
answer.
the ideal situation is give a case. He can mask the number, he can mask the name of the agent and customer, but give a real life case.
Yes. So if he has any questions, he can send that to us, email to us at nrc@amtoi.org or admin@amtoi.org. I'll write the email IDs on the chat box. Please write to us. We will get back to you. The next question, and in fact, the next three questions basically are asking almost the same question. Understand RCM applicable. or they want to understand the RCM applicability on billing done by agents to Indian forwarders towards freight on carriage and THC.
Yes. So in case of inbound cargo, if there is any, any component of it which is subject to GST, you have to pay GST under RCM even on purchase.
Arun, it will be better if you share the chart because we have covered
Exactly,
RCM
that's right.
very clearly.
Yes, sir.
And please read the chart 10 times. That's my humble request to everyone. Read it 10 times and correlate to your situations, your transactions.
So as you can see, wherever there is a GST component applicable in the tax rate, you can see the GST component. Wherever there's a GST component applicable, if you are purchasing it from overseas, where you're not being charged under forward charges, you are liable to pay GST under RCM.
So in the first question by Ankita, row 3 and 4 answers her question. Import cargo ocean freight and import cargo other origin and destination charges. So a 5% tax rate is applicable and 18%. So accordingly, the RCM needs to be purchased when the purchase is from a foreign party. I hope the question is answered. Mr. Mohammed Banja had
Except, I think, Priya, we have to clarify the new insertion. NA is a subjective NA.
yes.
So that footnote has been given down. Maybe for simplicity, we will add that also in the column instead of as footnote. But this
Yes.
NA is a subjective NA.
In the circular that we had sent, sir, we have already marked it as applicable and then put the footnote. So here, because this was prior to that, so we had not put it.
Someone had pointed out that the chart is different from that what is shared on email. We will resend this along with the presentation once again. So it's okay. Allow us to, I don't think because we checked if there is a change in the chart, we'll just check that again. But as far as I'm aware, the chart, this is the correct chart which has gone to all the members.
No, earlier instead of NA, it was yes. That is the only difference. Otherwise, everything.
It was no. Earlier, it was not applicable.
Correct.
But it was what we figured out is people are also purchasing these from overseas. So they pointed it out. So we have put a caveat here that if you're purchasing these from outside India, in that case, it is applicable. So in simple words, wherever there is a tax component applicable, if you're buying that particular service from overseas, you are required to pay under RC.
The fundamental principle is tax is not exportable. So you have to pay under reverse charge mechanism.
Correct. So shall I stop share now,
Yes.
Priya? Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Mohammed Banja has raised, his hand. He has some questions, but I'll take him when his question comes. In the meanwhile, the next question from Sureka.
Actually, Priya, just a second. Keyur has put in chat. In the chart that comes by email, it is said yes. That is correct. That's exactly what I pointed out, Keyur. We have made that correction as yes. This was earlier written as NA. The first chart which went with the circular, it was written as not applicable. So we changed that to yes. It is applicable, but we put a caveat that only in case you're purchasing this from overseas. Now, the problem that time was in the column on the top, we have said purchase from overseas, but we accidentally did not see that. So that is what the correction was.
So there is a split. That category has been split in two: purchase abroad, purchase here.
Correct.
Yeah. So we will split actually. Instead of a caveat, we will put a split.
So the next
yeah, you
question.
can take forward, yeah.
Yeah. So the next question from Sureka Jadhav. Foreign expenses on what RCM will be required? Import and export freight and exports.
Please refer to the chart. It is
Please.
very clear. And if you even then, if we are not able to clarify that, I am really struggling to find another way.
I'm once again requesting, friends, it is really important that we go through the chart in detail. If we have questions in specific point with the chart, it will help you understand. We are always available offline as well. If you have any questions, we can take that up afterwards. But right now, we request everyone to please keep going through the chart, and if they find any question, we'll be happy to answer them. The next question from Binny Hari, GST on nomination shipments, where we bill to the overseas agent for our services. Please advise the applicability. Again, this is already taken up in the chart. The
It is
next
considered
question.
as export of service, and there is no GST applicable.
Yes. The next question, same question was received from 3 different people. RCM on transportation and availment of ITC on the same.
Where's the question?
That is the question. The question is asking if there is RCM applicable on transportation and is availment of ITC on the same available.
How is this related to what we just...
So this is all the members mostly who are also probably members of ITWA. The question they want to know from the transport angle also whether RCM is applicable or no, and if they can avail ITC.
RCM under which circumstance? So we need to know the circumstance.
This RCM, Arunji, from the transportation angle, if as a GTA, if it is not paid by the consignor or shipper or consignor, then the transporter pays on RCM basis.
Correct. I get that, sir. I did not want to comment that because I did not know which angle this was coming from.
Yeah, I know. And anyway, as
But it has been mentioned that it is related to GTA, if you see the chat.
Okay.
Chat? Okay. Somewhere else.
Yeah. Somebody's come back. RCM on transportation related to GTA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, it is, yeah, Ramasar.
RCM, they can take a credit also.
It has to be paid under RCM and it is ITC is available.
So the next question is asking, what if RCM is not paid in GST?
What if tax is not paid? It's the same, it's like, I mean,
nothing, you'll end up paying interest, fine, penalty, and then later on maybe cancellation of your number. So it's up to you to decide.
It's tax evasion, as simple as that.
Yes. If Mr. Surya Prakash's question, if export ocean freight is collected at destination, whether GST is applicable on RCM?
If export ocean freight is collected at destination, whether GST is applicable on RCM?
Why?
Yeah, that on freight collect, do we need to do? No, because it is no. So it's export of services.
Export of services.
So there is no GST. And please do go through the chart. We've already clarified this in the chart as well. The next question is from Mr. Sachin. Our GST refund is still pending from 2017.
I think let's go back to that question. When export ocean freight is collectible at destination, naturally it is being charged to a foreign party.
Correct.
You can't have destination freight and collect from the Indian party. If that is being done, maybe it's a separate scenario and then discuss it separately.
No, sir. The question is very different.
Very different.
So export freight collected at destination, then naturally it is being billed to a foreign party.
No, RCM doesn't apply at all. The whole point is the RCM will not apply either way.
There have been cases what has happened is that originally the shipment is dispatched from India as freight collect. And then when the cargo reaches over there, the shipper say the BL is showing freight collect because it says is collectible at destination. All what Shantanu sir is trying to say is that in some cases, what happens is later on the shipper in India says, I'll make the payment. So
Yeah,
as
either ways, either ways, that's what I'm saying. Either ways, RCM will not be applicable. It will be either on forward charges or it will be export of service.
yes. So the next question on the GST refund is pending from 2017.
The refund,
We
this is not the right forum to pick it up.
right forum for that.
Please write to us. We will discuss and we'll get back.
Yes. Mr. Om Prakash's question, CB can forwarding services obtained from NVOCC and ITA associates and business partners. Then from our CHA company, issue invoice to importer-exporter. GST tax applicability rules same air freight, sea freight and services import and export shipment.
Yes, although it's not a full-formed question, but yes, I get what you're asking.
Yes.
The
So
category of the service provider doesn't change the character of the service. It is service
Exactly.
that is being subject to GST.
yes. So, Mr. Mayur's question is GST on ocean freight in case of FOB transactions.
Is GST on ocean freight in case of FOB transaction?
FOB, there is no freight at all.
I'm not sure. Maybe Mr. Mayur can
No, is
write
it
the
Whether it
question.
is
import or export?
Import.
If it is an import, then
Mr. Mayur, if you can answer on the chat box, the clarification, are we talking about import or export? Import.
Import. So in case of import, you have to charge under forward charge mechanism. GST is applicable.
Yes, GST is applicable.
But for sake of clarity, FOB has no relevance over here. FOB and such Incoterms are between the buyer and seller. There is no relation of this between the customer, which is importer, exporter, and a freight forwarder or a shipping line or between two freight forwarder. So please reserve use of terms, Incoterms for transaction between the buyer and seller and don't stretch it to the freight forwarder, shipping lines, carrier, and logistics stakeholders or any transaction between them.
Okay. In the chat, we have received a message from one Mr. Vikram. Mr. Vikram has said that it is in our chart, we are saying that the GST rate on export is nil. And according to him, it is not nil and should show actual rate and mention either IGST paid or LUT basis. It cannot be that GST is nil on those transactions. We again want, Arunji, you can clarify that it has to be nil.
the export of services.
It is export of
Sorry,
service.
I couldn't get the question. What was the question?
It is not a question. They have commented the reason why, when they've commented on the reason why we have the session today is that they've commented that in an export shipment, it is not that it is nil GST, it is that GST is applicable, but because we are using LUT, it is not there.
Yeah,
So
we believe that it's the common sense says that when we say nil, it is against it's export of services and you have to use LUT. Letter of understanding. So you are not wrong, but that is the understanding you should have on this.
So it is nil because it is export of service.
Correct. And
Yeah.
LUT has to be used.
And LUT still has to be used. It is nil. It is not that 18% or 5% will be applicable. It is nil and LUT still has to be used.
See, we are not debating here on the percentage of GST applicable on the particular service. What we were wanting to clarify is whether it is considered as export of service. As simple as that. So just take your understanding based on that. You are absolutely right that the GST is applicable, and that's why I put it in the column that percentage value. But it is nil because it is an export of service. And annuity has to be used, no doubt.
So the next question is Mr. Manish Panikar, need insight on GST returns paid on export freight billed to foreign agents and customers.
Priya, one second. I think if I am right, Vikram is from IATA. Vikram, Delhi, if Vikram is from Delhi and is from IATA, we had discussed this issue. What he wants to say is that his input credit, instead of using LUT, he pays the GST on that. And he can utilize that against the what he need to pay, the credit he needs to adjust against the debit instead of using LUT. That is his choice, he can use it. Otherwise, export is nil duty.
Correct.
Sorry, go ahead, Priya.
Yeah. So we can maybe call if it's Mr. Vikram, he can confirm, and maybe we can call him online and speak to him. In the meanwhile, Manish Panikar's question was need insight on GST returns paid on export freight bill to foreign agents and customers.
Not clear on this question. What does it mean?
Okay, the next question is Mr. Manish, if you're online, can you please rephrase your question and put it in the Q&A box? It'll be easy for us to compile and send it. In the meanwhile, the next question is from Guru Priya. Is GST revoked on sea import freight?
No.
I think it is basically one of those, I think it is based on where it is said that on the CIF basis, there is no RCM to be deposited. CF, there is a lot of confusion. We keep receiving calls. So, Arunji, if you can please detail on that as well.
Can you repeat the question?
What is
I
this GST revoke on sea import
So
freight?
in October last year, there was a message saying that GS RCM on
CIF.
CIF.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
वो वाला जो
a
Mohit
lot
Patel.
of I am assuming it is based on that confusion because I have received a lot of calls from members because they assume that based on that RCM on CIF cargo, a lot of people assume that the GST is made nil on sea import freight. So if you can have a quick discussion while I'm compiling more questions, please.
Okay, just to clarify to everybody, this is in reference to the Mohit Mineral case where no more levy of you can't hear
Arun,
me?
please
Arun,
repeat
you
because
have
we
to
lost you for
talk
some
in
time
the
in between.
mic, and in between you were inaudible. Please talk
Oh,
close
sorry.
to the mic.
No, just start again. Please restart.
You were talking about Mohit Minerals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Arun ji,
basically
just start your conversation again, please.
based on the Mohit Mineral case, am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, so based on the Mohit Mineral case, in which Supreme Court had made certain observation and had made an order, GST is not payable on CIF shipments by the importers on the FOB shipment or on the shipments where the ocean freight in imports is being collected in India by the freight forwarder. GST has to be paid under RCM. So that is the clarity on that particular subject, and it should not be confused.
Vikram has returned back. He is from Delhi and he is the vice president in IATA, if I am right.
We can take Vikram on the panel.
Yes,
No, he has said the same thing. He has got a lot of credit with him available
Okay.
on GST, which he is not able to utilize it. So therefore, he charges on forward charge at 18%. So his point is that instead of saying nil, you say nil with LUT, or if it is to be forward charges to be paid, it has to be paid like. That is what he wants that to be corrected. It's a good suggestion. We can
Yeah,
put that.
we can do
Uh,
that. We can do that.
Yes. Thanks, Vikram.
Priya, you're on mute.
The next question is from Mr. Shubham Tiwari. Is RCM applicable on work services taken from foreign vendors in case of import?
Yes.
The next question is, please, before that, again, most questions, favorite answer is please refer to the Excel sheet. The next question is from Rajni Nair. I'm an import forwarder doing the shipment from China to India. I have negotiated freight with Maersk in India on FOB basis. Maersk invoices me in India. I took 5% ITC. Do I bill my customer 5% or 18%? That's the first question.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
it answer is 5%. You bill
Okay.
forward charges 5%.
Provided he is billing as ocean freight.
Yes.
If he is billing as door to door or in some
Then
other form,
the whatever is applicable.
yes. So it has to be exactly ocean freight. So it is the service that is taxed.
Correct.
And avoid using Incoterms for transaction between the logistics service providers.
What the second part is, I am doing shipment from China to India. That's
Yeah,
it.
I think it's more of a clarification, reconfirming that it is imports. So the next question is, Jayesh, do we have to pay RCM on overseas agent vendor purchase and vis-a-vis not to charge the GST on our overseas billing? Kindly guide.
I don't understand. Do we have to
So
pay
RCM
RCM
on
on overseas agent
yeah.
vendor purchase and vis-a-vis not
Arun,
to charge?
it is a simple question. Read it in two parts.
Okay.
First part and second part. And part read as two and first part read as one. I think it's a simple question.
Do we have to pay RCM on overseas vendor purchase? Yes. Then vis-a-vis not to charge the GST on our overseas billing. Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
So yes is the answer for both the parts.
Yeah.
Yes. So the next question is from Jagdamba. Can GST be charged to GTA registered dealer who is engaged only in transport business?
Can GST
Should be charged to.
GTA registered dealer who is engaged only in transportation business?
No, but
I think,
why should I charge GST
yeah.
Exactly.
to a GTA registered dealer? Am I
So,
providing service to him?
If
No,
I
that-
am providing service to a GTA registered dealer, then yes, I will have to charge.
Yes. Means he has subcontracted something to us and then he becomes the customer. I think that seems to be the question.
No, he should be the, I mean, if I have understood rightly, he has engaged the transporter on a contract and given it to the GTA. And if he's going to bill it to them, what is the process for that? It has to be under, if he's registered under GST, he will be billing at to even GTA the GST amount.
See, my reading, Rama, is if a GTA registered dealer becomes my customer and he is engaged only in transport business, should we charge GST? Now, if he is our customer and we are raising on bill on him, it doesn't matter whether he is a GST registered dealer or importer or whoever he is.
GTA to GTA, something came in chat. 1 second.
So
Yeah.
that doesn't change the charging statute. You
I
being
think
the
let
special
him
category.
clarify again on the chat, what does he want to
yeah,
know?
they've asked GTA to GTA, is it exempted?
Is exempted is written, not is it.
Okay.
No, but it's not GTA to GTA.
No, this is something different.
That's a very different transaction.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the chart we have provided and the topic of discussion. That's a very separate discussion. Here we have referred to the place of service rules, which don't come to play over here.
We
I
move to
think,
the next question, I think.
let him rephrase the question and send it.
So I think this question is not clear. We'd anyway request Chitamba to please email it to us. The next question is from Manish. RCM on slot hire charges by service recipient, service provider, foreign party, feeder shipping lines, service recipient, Indian shipping agent. I think the question is, should RCM be applicable on slot hire charges?
But then he can't be Indian shipping agent.
Exactly.
He has to be a carrier, and the slot chartering party is his vendor, a subcontractor. He can't be an agent. And if it is an agent, then between two of them, he still is not an agent. He may be doing on behalf of another principal, but for the purpose of this transaction, he is not an agent.
Agent has been very loosely, people use agent as very loosely term, very loosely. So I think that creates a
No,
confusion.
Arun, somebody can be agent of someone and do it, but for the purpose of this transaction, he is not an agent.
Correct.
His agency relation with someone else is a different issue.
So,
So the next
uh,
question is from Mr. Gandhi Rajan. He's asking, we are getting freight invoices from shipping line for ocean exports with GST at 5%. Hence, RCM will not be applicable in this case. Kindly advise.
yes, correct.
Yes, this is with reference to import ocean freight. And we'll be only billing to the
Have
import.
we understood the question? Because there is a forward charge already.
Yeah, so
There is a
there is no
forward
RCM.
charge. Where is the question of RCM? So maybe the question is little bit different.
Correct.
So they want the clarification on that. People want to understand, and people need to be understanding this.
Maybe there is a nuance in the question, is my understanding. When there is a forward charge to you already, where is the question of RCM in addition? So maybe there is a nuance to this question which Gandhi Rajan must clarify to us, is what I'm saying.
Okay. The next question from Mr. Jayesh is, we have got suggestion from our GST consultant for making payment of RCM on overseas agent vendor payment and not to charge the GST on our overseas. This is the same question. I guess it's been repeated again. Then the question is, in between, I have skipped Mr. Mohammed Banja's
Yeah, because
question.
he asked to skip. Yeah.
He asked us to skip. It's the same question as Kayur's question. The next question is from Mr. Manoj Kambli. The customer has given transport contract to our company, quantity so and so, customer's bill of entry, import cargo by vessel enclosed. As a transporter, we have filed part. Okay, this is e-way bill related. Do we want to skip for
No,
now? And
we'll have to skip this. We'll take it up separately.
Mohammed Banja's question.
Then give reason why you want to skip. It's not a topic of this seminar or something else.
It's not the topic of this seminar, sir.
It'll go absolutely outside the seminar. This thing on e-way bill is what the question is. So we'll probably come back on that later. The next question, Arunji, if you can read so that I can start copying more questions. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a small issue. I'll have to.
I think it's Mr. Mohammed Banja, if invoice is raised on
Yeah.
foreign customer.
Invoice
I can
raised
I
on
can
foreign
I can
customer.
start reading that. That's fine. I'll
Yeah.
take the question.
Hmm.
And I think we lost Arun. I think we've lost his connection
Yeah,
or
yeah. He
something.
said there is a problem. Just
Yeah,
when he
I
said
also have a system problem. Zoom started installing updates. So I had come out and started from my this thing, mobile.
Okay, so I will just take this question, and I guess Rama sir, it's to you to answer
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So if invoice raised to foreign customer, but the services is import service, so is the GST to foreign customer or without GST? So I
See,
guess this.
no. Fundamentally, one must understand for a foreign customer, you cannot bill it with GST. The GST is paid in India on forward charges. If there is anything that is the billed from overseas, it has to be under RCM.
If invoice is raised to foreign customer, but the service is import.
The
So they,
service is import. So the whole point here is I
but
agree with
VAT,
what you're saying, Rama sir, but at the same time he says what if the service is import and not export from here?
No.
we've
If the
already
invoice is
we've
raised,
already taken this in the chart. The chart
Yes,
says the country, it's a third party this thing. The chart has 2 points, 2 different points. So it this is already taken up in the chart how it should be.
Mr. Mohammed says, can I come on panel?
Okay, I'll put him on the panel. Just hold on. Let me stop sharing. It'll make it easier. I'm allowing him to talk.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mohammed, you can unmute yourself and talk.
Yeah, I'm audible to you.
Yes.
Yes, very much.
So there is a two things over here in the annexure which you have shared, where you have written that import of cargo and import of cargo other charges, where there is an import of shipment from outside to India. This can be treated as of import of services or export of services. Because in your
Sir,
chart is mentioned
it's
export of
it's
services.
whom you are giving these services to. It's the
I am
supply of services. Where are you supplying it?
I am
In
billing to my
India or outside India?
I am billing to my foreign agents.
So then it is not in India. So it is export of your services for an import cargo.
Okay. So in both of the cases, if I am billing to foreign agent or foreign customers, so it is like it is zero rated.
Correct.
So anything billing to the foreign agent, whether it is transportation billing or whether it destination or other charges, etc. I am receiving the payment in the USD, billing in the USD currency, and I'm getting the income also in exchange in foreign exchange currency. So it is zero rated.
Export of
Yes.
services.
Yeah.
As export of your services.
Zero rated and export are two different things. So be
No, no,
careful.
no. Zero rated in the sense
No.
that
It is
it's not
export
going
of
to be
services.
applicable.
Yeah. So here is the question: is if I am importing the service, I am importing from UK to India. Yeah, as a like for ocean freight and the destination charges and handling charges, everything. But I'm billing to my foreign customer in UK. So all these services as an export service from mine. So it should be a zero rated non-GST to the foreign agent, or it should be a GST because it is an import of services. I'm importing from outside to India.
You are as a forwarder importing and giving it to the customer in India.
Yes, as a my forwarder, I'm importing the shipment from outside India to outside India from UK to India, and the shipment is going to the Indian customer, but I'm billing the same to my foreign customer, not to the Indian customer.
So as I understand, technically the shipment is a CIF shipment, and the forwarder in India is the one who's billing to the shipper at origin.
Correct.
So for the buyer in India, it is a CIF prepaid cargo, but for the ocean freight or the freight is being collected by you. So this will come under export of services only.
Okay, so
No.
whatever the services are there, it should be without GST to the foreign agents.
Place of supply will be
I think
Outside India.
let's
No,
avoid
place of supply is
terminologies
inside
like
India, not outside
whatever.
India.
Mohammed
Place
ji,
of supply
avoid.
to the person whom you are invoicing.
Correct.
Your service is invoiced to a person in UK.
Correct.
The cargo is given to a person in India. So
Correct.
whoever you are supplying the service, you are supplying the service to the person in UK.
Correct.
Yes. So then it is not applicable. But if you were now whatever services that you supply to the consignee in India automatically come under GST.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So I got your point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Priya, you're muted.
I'm just bringing the screen back, just a minute. Yeah. So we read Soham's question. Understand RCM applicability on on-carriage billing by foreign agent, whereas collected on carriage from our customer located at outside India in export shipment.
Understand RCM applicability on carriage billing by foreign agent, whereas collected on carriage from our customer located outside India in export shipment.
So where is the question? It is the customer who is directly paying.
If the on carriage, the foreign agent is collecting directly from outside India, then there is no question of RCM. But if the foreign agent is billing to you and then you are billing to the foreign buyer, then in that case, you will
RCM is applicable.
RCM is applicable on the foreign agent bill, and you will your part of the sale will be under export of services, and LUT has to be used.
And if he is paying you handling charges,
Mr. Mohammed, if you can
other
please
charges.
mute yourself. Priya, if you can just,
Not done.
thank you. Thank you.
And since we've asked,
Yeah, I think people need to be very clear on their questions so that it is understood rightly. We cannot presume the question and answer.
Sir, our answer is on the presumption, and we've mentioned our presumption. So I guess we should move ahead rather than discuss
No,
every
I
day. If
think
they have,
Rama,
let them.
I think I have understood the question is my feeling, but that's a presumption. What he's saying is we have organized the shipment,
Correct.
it goes abroad, and the
Correct.
foreign agent bills it to the foreign customer located outside India, whether the consignee or third party. So there is no question that it comes to Indian billing or Indian payment.
I agree with you. Then there is no GST at all.
There is no role, in fact, means
There
it's
is no role
outside
for
the
the Indian
purview.
forwarder. Correct.
So I think we've got a lot more questions, and so let's not, stick to questions and try to understand what they actually mean. We'll have to move ahead a little faster. I'm sorry, but there is also a time that we have to meet up. Go ahead, Priya, please.
No,
You're
Harish,
Yes.
mute.
what we do in such cases is we
We
reply
ask,
the remaining.
we ask them to send an email to info@AMTOI. Understand, if not, somebody will contact them, understand their
No,
requirement.
for everyone. We send this questionnaire replies to everyone.
That we can, okay, we can do that, but that'll take some time.
No,
Yes.
but we
So
have been doing it.
I've anyway sent the email IDs once again. Please reframe your questions in a way that we are able to, there's no ambiguity in understanding. But all these questions, what are being sent, say up to tomorrow, and the questions which are received online, we will be compiling them. Our panelists will be answering them, and within the next few days, it will be sent to all the participants along with the link for the webinar as well as the presentation which is being shown over here. The next question is from Malini. Good evening. Is there any possible to withdraw export freight GST? Because for collect shipment, we are paying GST here and very difficult to get refund.
Why should they get refund?
Why should you pay GST on a collect shipment?
Collect shipment.
This is exactly, Malini, what the entire session is. That a lot of people are paying, very few people are paying actually GST on collect shipments. which is not applicable. It is under export of service and you need not pay, and it has to be sent under LUT. The next question is
And
from
if you pay, how will you get refunded?
Yeah, correct.
Means this refund will be of different type. This refund will be erroneous payment of GST and not, say, input tax credit or refund of surplus available with you. Yeah, please proceed.
Yeah, so the next question is, what is the basis criteria to be a GTF if we are providing transportation? I leave this question because this is not pertaining to the topic at the moment. The next question is from Mr. Ashutosh. Typically, freight forwarders are arranging for tanks for transport of liquid cargo of their customers. In some cases, the tanks are arranged from foreign party for authorized carrier, and the said foreign party raises invoice for the same. The question is whether such amount charged by foreign party is considered as ocean freight or rental. Secondly, is GST being paid under reverse charge by the freight forwarder in India, and at what rate? I think Harish or someone can be the best one to answer for this.
So now this again depends on how you take the tank containers. I mean to say, if the tank container is basically when someone loads cargo in a tank container, they charge it to you as a freight, like it would travel in a normal box container, or if you really ask, the right word would be a cargo transport unit, a CTU. So it will
Priya,
always be regarded
please
as
place the
freight.
question.
And it is an RCM.
And
Priya,
yes,
please
and it is an
continue the
RCM.
question.
But that depends who is again invoicing it.
And
So
what nomenclature they're invoicing.
exactly.
No, Harish, let's go by question as it has been posed.
Okay, so it says typically
Just
freight forwarders
suppose,
are arranging for tanks for transport of liquid cargo for their customers. In some cases, the tanks are arranged from a foreign party, foreign authorized carrier, and said foreign party raises invoice for the same. Now, if the foreign
so
party is
just hold
raising,
on, Harish. Does any time the party which gives tanks bill you as freight or it's as a rental?
always freight,
No, the foreign party giving you the tank.
still freight. See, this is what I'm trying to say. The only difference between a tank and a box container is that the box container has packaged goods in it, and a tank will have unpackaged
Empty.
goods in it.
Yes.
But it is still a cargo transport unit. It is built as per ISO standards, and that is how the invoicing is also done. So
No,
I
how
will
the
charge you
tank
a freight.
supplier, Harish, the question is how the tank supplier will bill you.
I
There
think
is
it's
no
more
tank
like
supplier. There is a tank owner, like a container owner, except he's an NVOCC. Instead of owning containers, he owned tanks. It's an NVOCC. So there is no question, no?
it's like a SOC container. That's what I'm trying. Like we hire
No,
a
no, no,
No.
SOC
no,
And
container.
no, no, no.
NVOCC, when he loads on
NBOC.
any carrier, it's an SOC container for the carrier. So either ways, for when if I am as an NVOCC, I'm taking a container and I'm loading it through another carrier, my freight of that carrier is included in the freight that I am charging the customer. My point here is that it is a tank container that is charged as a freight. Now, the point here
Harish,
is that
let us ask for transaction details because
no, no,
my
one second.
understanding of question is very different.
The tanks are arranged from a foreign party,
Yes.
foreign
Mr.
authorized carrier,
Harish,
and the
Harish,
said foreign.
Harish Bhai, Mr. Ashutosh has given a clarification in the question saying that
Okay,
it is rental.
Correct.
where is it?
He sent on a question answers. He's not sent on the chat. Mr. Ashutosh, if you're available, can I put you on live on
So,
question
but
so
that's
that
how my understanding of the question is. If it is rental, then it will be treated as a rental and not as a freight.
Then you're talking about lease tanks. See, there are two different things.
But that's what he's saying.
yeah, Mr. Ashutosh, should I take you on call? Do you want to discuss this live? If you can say yes on the chat or no or
There is no such thing as rental. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Harinbhai, even if it is a rental, if he is making a payment to overseas
It is
against
still
his
RCM.
invoice, he is a pay RCM.
Exactly.
No, the question is whether it will be treated as ocean freight or rental. That's the question I'm replying.
That depends on what has been written on the invoice, no?
Great. So that's precisely what I'm saying.
Great.
So we
Mr.
have nothing from Ashutosh. Let's move to the next question, please.
Yes. So the next question is from Mr. Dilip. In our industry, reverse charge applicable on cash payment or any cash expense made related to custom clearance and freight forwarding.
There is nothing called cash payment in the customs. Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm moving on. Anyway, this is not pertaining to this thing. Mr. Grove's question is that will RCM apply on purchase from overseas agent against the transportation services provided outside India, and what will be the rate? Yes, RCM will be applicable and at 18%.
Rama, please talk in the mic.
Yeah,
I'm just
he was
reading the
reading the
question.
question. He's reading the question. He's not accessing his
I
laptop.
mean, is he saying from third country to third country, it is an import and export happening
No, no,
outside
no,
India?
no. He's talking about a shipment
No,
services like an ex works charges, sir.
outside India.
Rama, when I have a door delivery or X works pickup, we ask our agent to give transportation service. So that's the
Yeah.
question.
Okay, then take it.
Yes, RCM is applicable
RCM is applicable.
at 18%.
Yeah.
Mr. Manish's question, in case of ex-works shipment nominated by overseas agent, I'm curious to know if there are any provisions under the current GST framework beyond the conventional route of generating a freight bill in LUT and waiting for a refund. Our concern primarily revolves around the prolonged duration of the refund process, which has the potential to tie up our funds, especially on air shipments where the GST rate is set at 18%. Sir, in case of export ex-works shipment, we are talking about.
Yes, that's what he's saying.
So
Is
if
what
this is
Nominated
an
by foreign
export
agent,
shipment,
export is export.
yeah, so
This-
if we are talking about an export shipment, this is exactly what we are saying, that there is no GST applicable. The GST is nil and you need to send under LUT. It is under export of services. There is no GST you need to charge.
No, but why then in addition we give LUT?
No.
You
Wait,
don't
wait.
give
No,
LUT
no.
and also pay GST.
Correct, you're right.
So, no, what he has mentioned is freight bill in LUT and waiting for refund means they have paid both GST and LUT.
Which is not possible.
So, we
Unless
have
until
explained our position in the chart. Please follow the chart, and if you still have difficulty, come
Please
back
write.
with the specific transaction.
Mr. Next question. Mr. Manish, we have already given the email ID. If you have a case study which you would like to discuss with us, please send it to us and we'll take this offline with you. The next question is from Mr. Uday Bhaskar. We used to get booking from buyer from outside India, and our scope is door to door. All these charges will be paid by buyer. We will be raising our invoice to outside India. In this case, whether we need to raise invoice with GST, the
no,
answer is no.
no.
Again, it is export of
Export of
services.
services.
The the cost, since you are saying door to door, if you are going to receive a purchase bill from outside India, you will be paying on RCM. You will be paying RCM on that.
But that's on purchase, not on the
On
invoice.
purchase.
Yes.
RCM on purchase is applicable
Huh.
for purchase from outside India, and for your export shipment, when you are billing it to the buyer, there is no, this is export of service, so there is nil GST. Then the next question is from Mr. Deepak. We are starting new company with CFS, ICD, FF and logistics division. Can we take single GSTN and share invoice to customer with different service providers with different rate applicable in one invoice?
I think it's not topic of the seminar.
As long as it's in the same state.
No, but it's not topic
Yeah.
of the seminar.
Since it's not part of this thing, we are leaving it for now. The next
And
question.
what happens is when we answer this, then we go in a different tangent altogether.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I think to the Vikram, we have already answered this, it's very
Right.
clear.
I'm sending shipment from China to US with China agent billing us in India, and we are billing to US buyer. Does this even qualify as supply, or do we have to pay GST on reverse charge for third country to third country transaction? Sir, when you bill to the buyer outside India, it will be export of
What are
service.
services?
And the invoice you will receive from your vendor from outside India purchase, you will have to pay RCM on that.
That's
The
a
next,
sad situation. I took some time to adjust to it. That cargo is not even coming to India. It's one third country to third country. Why should we pay? But that's the reality of the law today.
yes, and this we have covered very clearly in the GST under the third
Yes.
party to third party. So please do read through the GST chart once again. That's for everyone, not just for Vikram sir. The next question is from Darshan. In case of DDP import consignment, we are only handling the cargo in India. The handling fee is say 10 USD per consignment. The invoice for handling is raised by us on the foreign agent forwarder. Is GST applicable on such invoices? The
No.
answer is no.
No.
It is again export of services.
Export of services.
I'm reading some of the questions live now because we're just 5 more minutes for this thing. Last few questions. If ocean freight is prepaid with GST to a carrier and to be collected from a client overseas, how do I set off the GST paid? I
This is
think
what we started with the question, where we were
Yes.
not understanding the question. We
Yes.
presumed it.
yes. If ocean freight is prepaid with GST to a carrier and to be collected from a client overseas, how do I set off the GST?
I think as usual means it's any other GST paid and set off. There is nothing different for that.
Yes.
No, there is an input and output, both are there. That is why he is asking this question.
Rama, whether there is input or output, when I pay GST, it goes in my GST pool, which is
Yeah.
available for
So
my
it's a
input
credit
tax
to your
credit.
credit account.
And then my next transaction is a separate transaction. Let us not combine the two transactions and confuse.
That is what I'm saying. This is purchase and sale. Instead of input and output, I should say purchase and sale. There are two independent transactions.
The next question says,
Can you place the question? It is easier to read than hear.
so I have not copied, so it is
Okay.
from the Q&A box. Since there are last 1 or 2 questions I want to take up before we close, we are already at 5 o'clock. For overseas customer collect shipment, we are raising invoice without GST, but here we are paying 18% GST on freight, so that our input out, so that out input excessively available. Is there any possible that the government withdraw that system? That's a wishful thinking all of us have, and the government is not listening
No,
to.
but for what reason? Means why it should be withdrawn? For cash flow? Why
We're
should
talking
it?
about 18% GST on air freight, or especially because it is too high amount. So shouldn't that be
So
withdrawn?
it's a cash flow issue.
Yes. That's
You
what
know,
they asked.
AMTOI is already represented for the rationalization of GST for both import, air freight and sea freight. So we have
Yes.
already written, but there is no, nothing has come out from the ministry. So as and when it comes, we will see.
No, but we have to also give compelling reasons.
So basically cash flow issue.
So will it be a compelling reason?
Well, it is, I mean, we can debate it separately.
I'm taking one last question from Vaishali. Thankfully, it's quite different from others and it will really be helpful. Is RCM applicable on overseas customs duty charged by the overseas agent for TDP shipment?
No.
No.
But be
Because
sure to give the proof of duty payment.
Exactly.
and
So
Not
raise
your
as a
agent's
reimbursement
bill.
bill.
No. What we normally get is our agent's bill. Don't do that. Take actual duty payment
And
evidence.
to our customer also, we should be billing a reimbursement bill for that charge, for the
And
duty,
this,
along with the actual bill of entry or whatever the import document for the actual receipt. So that should all. So I think that's all for now. We do have a lot of questions which have come up, a lot of questions which people have written on chat. I could not collate them because it's difficult to collate both the Q&A box and the chat box. Um, I would really request people to please write to us, write down your questions. We'll wait till tomorrow for all the questions. I would really request that please more the questions. It will help us to give clarification properly. We will respond to all the questions and we will take it. I mean, we will respond to each and every question. But please do go through the GST chart 5 times, 10 times, and ask questions. It will be easy for us to help you out. Over to Dev. Dev.
and Priya, in addition, let them refer the serial number in the chart while asking question.
yeah.
Otherwise, see, we are guessing what is in your mind.
Yes. And if you have actual case studies, if you have examples, or you can hide your customer name, cargo details, but if you have examples, it will be more helpful for us to in understanding the case and responding to you.
We may also request Vikram to send a detailed questionnaire because in the chat I find that he's talking about export of services and RCM, LUT, tax, etc. Let him create a scenario, couple of more scenarios and ask for a question. We can revert back to him.
Okay. Dev, over to you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We've now come to the end of a very informative webinar on GST and RCM advisory. The whole idea was basically to have this discussion with all the association and the members participating to have a clear understanding of the GST applicability, and as an industry we should have one voice. So that was the whole idea behind coming out with this webinar session. We as ILG and AMTOI together put up this for the benefit of all our members. Thank you, our esteemed panelists, Mr. Shantanu Bhatkankar, Mr. S. Ramakrishna, Mr. Arun Kumar, for their valuable inputs. And I'm sure a lot of the questions which has come in today has been answered and the doubts have been clarified. We also extend thanks to all our members who actually came in today and attended this webinar. We had about 180 plus participants at one point of time, and it's good to see so many joining in for this informative session. We would encourage more such participation from all our members, and we'll definitely get back to you on the questions asked today as soon as possible. Our Priya and Harish Bhai and all of us in the training committee and the taxation committee will revert with the replies. Thank you very much for everyone for joining in today. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.